I've noticed a lot of people trying to jam a whole lot of stuff down their pants recently. Between the gun, the magazine carrier, you know, the wings coming off these big bulky holsters, people jamming knives down there and medical supplies, and don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of most of the stuff I'm talking about as well, but sometimes I just want something simple, something easy, something compact. Let's take a look at one of the newer holsters I picked up recently. I think you might like it. And here it is, guys, the Txe X1 Holster. This particular one is set up for the Smith & Wesson M&P. 2.0 is the model I have here, and this is actually the compact 4-inch model, okay? Now, it's open here at the bottom, so it'll basically take any of the different sizes, whether it be the 3.6, the 4.0, or the, 4.2 or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, so it will take all those. Just understand that it will stick out a little bit. Even on this 4-inch model, it does stick out at the bottom a little bit. Not really a big deal. Obviously, as you might have already noticed, guys, it's a very compact holster, and that's kind of the point of this holster, is they wanted to make it simple and very compact. A little bit about this company real quick. I went to their website. I've bought holsters from them before, but recently they did an update on their website, and I was very impressed. They now have 3D renderings of all the holsters they're making, which is pretty cool. You can look at a 360-degree view of the holster that you're making. But what's even cooler is that as you actually add things to the holster, like different colors, different belt clip configurations, it actually changes it live for you. So if you want to know what the holster is going to look like with multicam black and these red washers right here, you can go ahead and do that before you purchase. So I think that's really cool, especially for people who are new to holsters, and maybe they're doing all these different add-ons. They're like, okay, what's it going to look like with 2 belt clips? And they don't really know. So being able to add that and being able to see it before you buy really takes a lot of the guessing game out of it, especially for people who are new to holsters and don't know what all the accessories do. With that said, I didn't go with any accessories on this one. We'll talk more about the details of this holster in just a second over here on the workbench. But I will say this right off the bat. If you want something compact, fairly priced, and very secure, this is a holster you're definitely going to want to pay attention to and consider. Let's go take a look at it on the workbench and we'll talk about the details. Alright guys, let's talk about it. Now, first and foremost, before I even take the gun out of the holster, I want to address the adjustable retention. In that, there is no adjustable retention. Yeah, that's a bit of a minus for me right off the bat, but I'll tell you here in a sec why that's not a big problem for me. Now, what adjustable retention does, guys, is it gives you the option to tighten it up or loosen it up if you want to change the way the gun comes in and out, okay? So if it's real tight for you and you want to loosen it up, you just take a screwdriver and you loosen them up. This gun doesn't have that, so you're stuck with whatever retention comes with it. That's okay if you like the retention of the gun, but over time, inevitably, the gun will loosen up a little bit, so that could become a problem. Now, that's the bad news. The good news on this gun is that it is incredibly tight in there, okay? Now, for some of you might be thinking, Matt, is that really a good thing? Well, it is for me, I'll tell you that much. I really like to have my holsters cinched down and have the retention really tight. And I will tell you this much, guys. This holster right here, out of the box without adjusting anything, because I don't have the option to adjust anything, is the tightest fitting holster I've ever owned, okay? Now, inevitably, that will loosen up a little bit over time, but as of right now, I am a happy camper when it comes to the retention of this thing. Now, the reason that might not work out so well for you, if you're incredibly weak, which I don't really see that being an issue, you're going to be able to get enough leverage, especially when it's inside your waistband and you're just pulling up on the gun. That could be an issue, though, if you're incredibly weak. The other issue could be if you have a crappy belt. If you've got a crappy belt, what ends up happening a lot of the time, not even just with this holster, but with these types of these hook style clips, what'll end up happening if you have a really thin or malleable holster, when you go to pull up on the gun, what ends up happening is this clip doesn't have enough to hold on to, and so the holster can come with it. And the tighter the retention of the holster, the more likely that's going to happen. Now, I've had a decent amount of time with this holster and other holsters like it with a variety of gun belts that I own, and I don't have any issues. But that's because I have good gun belts. So invest in a good gun belt before you get any holster, in my opinion. But do what you're going to do, guys. Just be aware of that. It could be an issue. Now, you could take this off, and you could get a... what is it called? The soft loop with the struts. We talked about that before. I don't have one right here I can show you, but that is an option you could do with this pretty easily, and that will alleviate some of those issues because it's less likely to come out with the gun if you have one of those leather belt clips or whatever you call them with the strut on them. And you really don't lose anything with that. They're just a little bit harder to take on and off. I don't know whether or not this company offers that. Some of the things they do offer on their site for this particular holster is you're going to have an option to get another belt clip on here as well as a concealment claw. Now, I went ahead and got this with the most basic stuff you could get, minus a little upgraded Kydex color. And minus the upgraded Kydex color, this is going to run you about $60, guys. You start adding concealment claws and additional or different belt clips, and obviously that price will go up. This is actually kind of interesting because usually when you have holsters like this that are minimal style holsters, it will be a fold over design. In other words, take one piece of Kydex and fold it over and then just make it from there. This, they use two pieces of Kydex. Now, I'm not sure about their process of manufacturing these things. I'm not sure why they do that. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. It's just a little bit unusual. Now, what they opted to do for this holster is leave this open right here, which I thought was kind of strange. But I think the reason they did that is because they didn't want to have to fasten this piece to this piece and just take up more space. And so it takes up less space and it takes a little less time to make, so it costs a little less money, I assume. So that's an interesting design option, and I assumed that because this is open like this, that it would give me some issues as far as retention is concerned. It really hasn't. I mean, I am amazed at how secure this thing is in the stinking holster, despite the fact that it's just attached right here, and it only has one belt clip option. So it does move a little bit in your waistline, and I'll actually demonstrate that here in just a few minutes. But man, that is pretty tight. Yeah, so for me, this is pretty much perfect. And you're going to run into some issues without that concealment claw. You're not going to have that option to have it pulling it closer to your body. So you might have issues with printing with a holster setup like this, but for me right now in the winter when I'm wearing a lot of big hoodies, because it's pretty much all I ever wear, it isn't much of an issue. Another thing right here, you see this little bump right here. That is some sort of wedge basically. Now some companies offer this as an option. This one comes standard on all their inside the waistband holsters. If you don't like it, I honestly don't think you'll notice it that much, guys. It's not that intrusive. The idea of this is that it presses up against your body, right? So it presses up against your body, sort of turning the holster this way towards your body and making the back of the gun stick into your stomach a little bit more. Again, much like the concealment claw, that is going to make it a little less comfortable, theoretically at least, but it is also going to help you conceal the gun, okay? I personally didn't notice much of a difference with that, but who knows. There are other companies. I think Tier 1 Concealment actually manufactures these out of some sort of dense foam, and then it has an adhesive back, so you can basically add it to any other holster, which is kind of neat. But anyway, it comes standard on these. I do not think it's an option to take it off, so just keep that in mind. That's about all I can say here on the tabletop, guys. I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick what this is going to look like inside the waistband and some things you might want to keep in mind. So, be right back. Alright guys, so this is what you'll find me wearing probably like 10 months out of the year because we live in northern Ohio and it's always freaking cold. I like to just wear a basic pullover hoodie, and I like this for two reasons. One, it's warm and comfortable. Actually, that's two, isn't it? And three, it's very easy to conceal a handgun, okay? I could just lift it up like I would a t-shirt. And look, I wear an undershirt, so you guys don't have to see my hairy stomach, all right? And that's where I'm concealed carrying, and you're going to notice that I'm not going to be printing, certainly not in an outfit like this. Now, in a t-shirt, might be a bit of a different story. Now, once again, guys, the wedge, if I had one on here, is going to go ahead and press up against this part of the belt from the inside, pressing this part of the gun into the body a little bit more. aiding in concealment, okay? And what that wedge is going to do, theoretically, like I said, I don't know how much it helps, but theoretically what the wedge that's built onto this holster does is it actually presses up against the inside of the leg, and it's actually going to press into the body with this part of the holster. Now, another big thing I can't stress enough, guys, is a good gun belt, okay? This is an Aries Gear belt. There's a lot of good gun belts out there. I'll do a review of this belt and a bunch of others in the future. Is really going to aid in concealment as well. Now, the cool thing about having just the one belt clip is that a lot of the time when you have setups for appendix, big belt buckles like this one really get in the way. I end up having to just throw them all the way to the side, which is why a lot of the belts I have are actually buckleless. And this isn't a problem because the belt clip is all the way to the right, so I can wear that right up against the belt buckle and not have to move it. So that's pretty cool. Now, talking about getting the gun out of the holster, not an issue there, guys. Getting the gun back in the holster, not a problem. Really not going to be any issue whatsoever. It's comfortable as heck, guys. I mean, this holster takes up, I'll show you how to take it out. Just pull up on it and pull it right out. This holster takes up almost no extra space from the gun. I mean, this is where the trigger guard is, right here. That's where the holster ends. And the slide right here, you're going to have this little extra bit right there. By the way, I was wondering about that. I'm assuming that has something to do with the sights kind of guarding the sights, I guess, theoretically, from maybe snagging onto your clothes. That's probably why that little extra bit is there. Of course, with this particular setup, the sights stick out anyway. So I guess it would really only work with the 3.6-inch option. But, you know, whatever. So yeah, guys, compact. Very simple, very robust, very secure. I can't say enough good things about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And as always, guys, stay armed, stay safe.